Hello and happy Pride. Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Hockrattle, and I will be your host and your guide to this Pride. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did. We're doing a very special challenge today, doing some work for Pride. It's Pride Week here on Adobe Live, and we want to celebrate that together. So we'll have 5 challenges coming to you that are all themed around Pride. And not only are we going to be designing, we're going to be learning a little bit of the history of Pride. If you've ever joined me for a challenge before, you know that I love history. So we're going to look back and see how the past influences where we are today. Hold on. All right. Sorry about the echo. I fixed it. That was my fault. We're professionals here. All right. So someone in chat said disco voice. Yes. All right. So let's hop in and talk a little bit about Pride. And today our challenge is going to be inspired by Gilbert Baker. So Gilbert Baker, let's go ahead and hop over here. He's the designer of the original Pride flag. So the original Pride flag was created from strips of fabric, and each strip represented something different. Now, there were too many colors once they started producing it widely, it got way too expensive, and so they actually pared it down to less colors. So the original Pride flag, of course, designed by Gilbert Baker. He was urged by Harvey Milk, who was one of the first openly gay elected officials, to create a symbol that was something that people could rally around. And so Gilbert Baker created this flag. And why is there a flag? Because after Stonewall, again, the gay community needed an icon, a symbol to rally around, and a flag is kind of the best way to do that. Flags are very, very powerful to create values that can be shared within a community. So on the flag, red represents life, orange represents healing, yellow represents light, green represents nature, turquoise is art, and purple is spirit. So we'll be using these colors today, and that's why it's here, as we create a poster to help celebrate Pride. So this is just a great quote from Gilbert Baker, and it says, "A true flag is not something you can really design. A true flag is torn from the soul of the people." I love this quote. So today we're going to be creating some posters over in Illustrator and then hopping over into Photoshop. If you've joined us for challenges before, you may know that we stay in one program most of the time, but for this set of Pride challenges, we'll be all over the place. We'll be in Illustrator, Photoshop, we'll do a little bit of Adobe Express. So open up those programs, buckle up for the ride, and we're going to cover a whole bunch of stuff. If you want to get connected, you can do so in our Discord right here. We will have the link down below as well as some links in chat. Now, the font that we're going to be working with today to create our poster, and this is your source file. You can grab it down in the link in the description. But this is our source file, and we have a font up here that we are going to use. Now, this font was created to honor our friend Gilbert. So this is named Gilbert, and it is a color font. If you haven't used a color font before, it is just a great way for you to very quickly use a font. And we've downloaded that from fonts.adobe.com. Just search Gilbert, and you can see here that it is included in the pack. It was designed and created to honor him as a tribute to the iconic rainbow flag. So it feels fitting that we would use that today. If you want to get your source file as well, you can go to behance.net/challenge/design to join our Pride Week challenges. We have a very special page, and each day we will have a new challenge available for you. So let's hop in and start designing. And I think that I'm going to use that Gilbert font, and I want to make a poster that is open for you to put stuff into and then post on social media or post in our Discords. So let's go ahead and create something, and I'm just going to have it say, "I am proud of blank," and then we'll be able to fill that in after the fact. We're going to be laying out the type in Illustrator and doing some of the coloring there and maybe adding some accents and then doing some texturing in Photoshop to really bring it to life. So I'm just going to use the type tool right here, hitting T, and I'm going to type out, "I am proud of." Proud of. And then I think that I'll do a blank, but let's go ahead and scale this up. Just grabbing the corner there and holding Shift to really pull that out and stay symmetrical. All right. And maybe let's do this. Let's do this. Let's take out of and then leave an open space for us to type something in on the bottom. So let's do I am proud, and then we're going to go ahead and do a little space open at the bottom. So let's go ahead and just draw a line in here. And I think it'll be good to do a line that kind of mirrors some of these pieces and some of these colors. We may be changing these colors as we go, but for now, let's go ahead and just create a nice little rectangle using M or the rectangle tool to pull it all the way out here. And then maybe we're gonna put a period at the end here. Actually, maybe let's just do this. All right. And let's have this overlap a little bit and use 2 colors. So let's do 2 of these. And I'm just holding Alt or Option and Shift to drag that and make a copy. And then we're going to use the eyedropper tool to grab one of these colors. Now, it is hard because we can't grab these colors right now because of the way that the font is created, right? A color font you're not able to sample from. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Control C and then Control V to paste this on the side and go to Object, Expand. Now with the color font, it has expanded this, and now we have all of the colors on that type as shapes. So we can grab our shape here, use the eyedropper tool to make it purple. And you know what, let's try to incorporate some colors that aren't in here very much. Let's do some of this yellow, some of that yellow, and then maybe some of this purple right there. So we're going to multiply those because you can see on here they're interacting with each other. So we're going to change the blending mode over here to multiply, and there we go. We've got that cool little accent happening here. All right, so I am proud, and then we have our little kind of open blank for us to put type into, so you can type whatever you want into that space. So it looks pretty good, but I want to add something down here that maybe adds some visual interest. So I'm going to be inspired by these colors, and I'm going to create kind of a maybe a starburst kind of effect, or some kind of like slash through that creates a nice little effect. You know what? Let's do a flag down here. Let's do that. Let's do some flag colors down here. And what I'm going to do is, this is in your source file, this little flag here. So let's just go ahead and grab this, and I'm going to drag it all the way down here, so that we can have a nice little border at the bottom to really lock in this poster. So that's looking pretty good. I'm not mad about it. Definitely not mad about it. So I'm gonna drag this up just a little bit. And now what I wanna do is I am going to recolor this type so that it fits in with our color scheme. To do that, I need to outline it. So again, I am going to go to Object and Expand and hit OK. And from there, we could do this a couple ways. We could, question from Misty. Does the Pride flag have specific CMYK colors? I think that it would. I don't know what they are. This color scheme is actually just a color scheme that I grabbed off of color.adobe.com and searched Pride. And I really like these kind of powdery values. So what we're gonna do is we could do this a couple ways. We could use our color replace, edit colors. I don't want to do that because it's not going to hit exactly the way that I want. But what I am going to do is we are going to kind of use the select options. And I don't know if you've ever used this before, but I'm going to group these together, selecting all those pieces. And I'm just going to double click in so that only that group is isolated. From here, I'm going to select this blue with the direct selection tool, and then go to select, same, and I'm going to do fill color. So it's going to grab everything that's blue right there, magic. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to bring this nice dark blue that I have in, and I think that looks pretty good. So next I'm going to replace the yellow, and again, you just select same, fill color, and it's going to grab all of those yellows, and we can eyedropper it in. Something else we can use is the magic wand tool. We can hit Y, and that will bring up the magic wand tool so that I can grab maybe these reds, and it will select all of those reds for us and just start to replace those so that our colors aren't as off as some of the others that we see. So same here, using that magic wand tool to replace the green. All right, and now those colors are looking a lot better. They're looking a bit more cohesive, and I do want to change this to orange because there's not a lot of orange happening. So there we go. We've got some fun stuff, and let's go ahead and multiply this again. All right, so we've got our poster here. We have replaced colors, and we've used that magic wand tool. So let's go ahead and just click and drag. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to put a box around this entire shape. So I'm gonna go to the edge of the artboard, see where it links up there, and then drag all the way down to the bottom and make sure that there's no fill on here. So I'm going to turn the fill to none. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna help me when I pull it over into Photoshop to make sure that it sizes correctly, right? It would size only to the active shapes when I brought it in. And so it would be a little small for our artboard, but I want it to be the same. So I'm just gonna put a full box that is opaque, has nothing in it, over the entire composition. So we're gonna click and drag, and now we have all of the pieces selected. I'm just going to Control C to copy that. And then head over to Photoshop, where I've created an artboard that is the exact same size. And for that, you can just go to File, New, and it will actually, if we come in here, it is 6x8 is what we're working with. If it is copied, it will find the dimensions of that design and then make it for you. So I'm just gonna change the resolution here. You don't need to do that. I just wanted to do it so that we had a little more space. And when I go to paste, we are going to paste this as a smart object. So I'm going to hit OK. And now it is pasted in here. Look at that. It is right on the edges. Everything looks great. And let's grab some texture. Let's start doing some texture here. And the first thing I'm going to do is put down kind of a background. I found a background that I downloaded. Let me go ahead and open it for you. And it is just a paper texture. So this is Adobe stock. And it's a nice paper texture. I can just click and drag this into Photoshop. There we go. We're going to rotate it to the side and hold Shift to make sure it stays proportionate. And from there, I can hold Alt or Option to scale it all the way up. So now we've got this nice paper texture in the background. We want to make sure that our layers are up. That looks good. Hold on. Ooh, that was an aggressive sneeze. And right now it's not really interacting as much as I want it to. And so I'm going to change the blending mode to multiply. So now you can see, there we go. It looks like it's kind of blending down, like the ink has fallen into those pieces. That looks fantastic. I love it. All right, I'm gonna change maybe the contrast of the background a little bit. And I can do that by clicking on this background. And then right down here with a circle with a slash through it, I can go and change the brightness and contrast. Now let's increase the contrast and then maybe increase the brightness just a little bit. There we go. So we have kind of slide those around until we have a really subtle texture there. It looks pretty good. All right, so I like the subtle texture, but I want to add more. Now, I don't love the colors of what's happening here in these pieces, and so we're gonna change those lines a little bit later at the end of this show. So let's go ahead and do some texture brushes. There's a great resource that we are going to drop in the description as well as over in chat for you. And Adobe just dropped these brushes. There's 372 grunge brushes. They're amazing. You can just Google Adobe grunge brushes and they will show up. But you can grab all of these. Look at this. No stain, no gain. Rough it up. There are all kinds of different brushes to add to your library. So they're all there. And then once you have them in your library, you can grab your brush tool by just hitting B. And then we're going to right click and we are going to load up those brushes. So it looks like, let's go to our library, Windows, and open libraries. And from there, libraries, oh, you are here. All right, there we go. Here are my libraries right here. And I have a Pride library that I've added everything to. And we should be able to see those brushes. There we go. So we have these brushes, Epic S3, it adds it to our library. And I can simply double click here and I'll make a new layer so you can see what it looks like. When I start to do these, you can see it's got those really cool kind of swishes and swashes, right? Getting some really interesting engagements here. So I love what's happening, and I'm actually going to maybe redo this Pride flag down here with these brushes. So I'm gonna make a new layer, hitting Control-Shift-N and hit Enter. And from there, I'm going to use my eyedropper tool and make sure that I'm sampling all layers. So sampling all layers is going to allow me to grab that red. And now I can kind of just brush on these different pieces. Ooh, it's a little too big, so let's scale it down. I'm just using the bracket to scale it down. And let's go ahead and change this. There we go. To just create some stripes. There we go. That looks pretty good. And I can double click on any of these brushes and they will create, it will switch over to whatever that new brush will be. So I'm going to keep just using that bracket to scale these down. And I'm holding shift and dragging across, and that's allowing me to draw in a straight line. So very easy, quick hack to draw in straight lines. Just hold down shift. So I'm clicking once, and then holding down shift and clicking again. There we go. That's looking pretty cool. Let's go ahead and maybe paint that in a little bit more so we get some more of that texture in there. All right, that looks pretty good. And let's go ahead and keep continuing to finish this really quick. I'm going to grab a different brush by double clicking right there. And this one I believe is our blue. So I'm just going to pull that. That's green. That is green, green. So we're going to pull that there. And I am going to change this to multiply just so we have a little bit of shape. Then we have the blue. Oops. Blue looking good. Let's go ahead and brush that blue on. And then we have, I think, 2 more colors. Oh, we just have the purple left. All right, so let's add the purple, red, orange, yellow, green. Okay, got it. And I'm going to grab one more brush over here and then brush on that purple. So it looks pretty good to me. We are going to bring it down a little bit and then maybe just stretch it. I'm going to hold shift here to stretch it up. It's going to look a little bit wonky, but not too bad. And now I have all of my type, right? Looking good. Now let's go ahead and yes, I do see the irony of showing you how to draw straight lines on a Pride stream. All right, so we are going to use the add layer mask, and I just use the rectangular marquee tool here to grab all this space, and I'm just going to use the layer mask and then hit Control I to invert it. And that's gonna make it so that it's inverted. And now we have all of these pieces up here. It is kind of masked out. Now I wanna add some texture, and what I can do is I'm actually going to use this brush that I have here, but with the mask selected right here, we're going to go to B, which is brush tool, and I'm just gonna kind of start clicking in over some of this type. Now I can change the opacity here to maybe 25. I did 52, but that's okay. And you can see as I start to brush over this, it's gonna give me some of that nice, great little golden texture. And what's happening here is it's actually brushing in black on the opacity. And that means that it's taking away and not showing those parts of the design. And so it allows me to put texture on there to really create almost a see-through look on this type. So it looks pretty good to me. I am going to group this. So I'm going to put this in a group and then change the blending mode to dissolve. That's going to give us this nice little, you can see, oops. You can see all these little pieces here that are looking pretty good. I think that they look really fun. And we're gonna do some finishing touches on this and then show you how you can type in your pieces as well. So let's go ahead and maybe I want to add in some gritty texture. What I can do is I'm actually going to grab all of this and make it a smart object. That's going to allow me to really play around with filters without destroying anything. So I selected all of that and then hit Control G to group it into a smart object. And I am going to right click and convert to smart object. Now it's basically just pulling everything together so that I can apply different effects to it. And I'm going to apply a couple effects here. I'm going to go to Window and I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Filter and add some noise. It's a little bit too much. Let's do maybe 5%. And then I'm also going to go in and blur that out. So blur, we're going to do a Gaussian blur, and change it to just 0.4, something really, really subtle there. And now you can see we've got a little bit of that noise. And so it makes it look like it's a little bit more printed than being too kind of intense. Now I maybe want to add, You know what? I think it's okay here. I think it's okay here. So let's go ahead and go back, and I do want to change some of these colors. I feel like the O could use another color in it because it's looking a little wonky, and then I do want to change the colors of this down here. So all I need to do is I can double click into this smart object, and we're going back into Illustrator. Right here, remember when we imported and pasted it as a smart object? I can double click, and boom, we are here with our smart object, and I can simply grab these pieces and change them to whatever color I want. So I want it to be green, and then this one I maybe want to be orange. So we're gonna multiply those again. And then this O, I probably want to be red. So I'm just using the eyedropper tool to grab the red right there. And that looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to hit Control S to save. And when I go back into Photoshop, check it out. It has changed those colors for me, looking great, and it has actually applied all of those filters. So this is the smart object, and when I save this, Control S, and close it, now you can see everything is updated with the blur, with the noise, everything is looking great on top. Now, if you want to, you can add in your own personal touch to your design. Once you've put it into Photoshop, you've kind of imported everything from Illustrator in, we can double click here and you can type in whatever you want to say. So I am proud, what am I proud of today? I am proud to create queer spaces. That's what I'm proud of today. You can put in whatever you're proud of and then post it on social media, or you can post it on Discord. You can tag me if you want. Oh, that's so big. Hold please. There we go. So you can tag me on social media. It is just @hawk.co. And you can see actually that there is some noise already being affected to this because it is changed to the dissolve blend mode right here. It's dissolve and the group that is dissolving. So I'm going to type in here to create queer spaces. All right, so we are going to change the tracking right there. And we are going to change this to a handwriting font. And I can simply come up here and change to handwritten right there. And with that, I can kind of scroll through here and find one that looks good to me. Adobe handwriting looks great. I'm gonna change that color to a nice little dark gray. And we are going to multiply this layer as well. That will allow us to kind of get a little bit of zazzle on the overlap here with kind of that the pieces that are happening underneath. So it looks pretty good. This cue is a little crazy, but we'll leave it. All right, so I'm going to save this and then close it and check it out. Now it is on our poster, looking great, and you can see with just that little bit of noise, right? The little bit of noise on the edges, that dissolve, and then the blur coming in, it really looks like it's printed. It looks like it's handwritten. It's got a little bit of that bleed on the edge. And I think that we've created something really cool. I think this is pretty fun. It's looking good to me. So I like the texture here. I like what's happening with the type. And I don't think that I want to add anything else. You know what? Let's add, I don't think let's add anything else. I think that looks good. So if you want to create your own poster, you can do that again by joining us at behance.net. Where's my link? There you go. behance.net/challenge/design. And we will have more challenges for you coming for Pride Week. And we'll be tracking through history. Remember, today we talked about Gilbert Baker and the history of the Pride flag. Tomorrow we'll be talking about one of the first kind of people to start the movement of gay rights and of pride at Stonewall. We'll be talking about Marsha P. Johnson. So we'll be talking about that. Join us. We'll be making some appreciation stickers for all of the folks in the queer community. And tomorrow specifically focusing on our friends that are trans. So we'll be hanging out and having a great time. Make sure that you join us. And Thanks for joining Pride Week, everybody. We love you, and we hope to see your work posted either on social media, tagging me, or over here in our Discord by just posting in the challenge tab. And regardless of if you're in the Illustrator, or you're in the Photoshop, or you're in the XD or Premiere, wherever you are, post your work in there and let us know what's happening with your Pride and what you're proud of this week. So whatever you're proud of, put it here, and I will see you again for another Pride challenge a little bit later. Bye.